Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here. And you are welcome, friends and especially enemies. Come in, sit down if you can find a seat here. Anyway, welcome to Tuesday's edition of the dceu Daily and you're very, very welcome. So the internet explodes again, mainly Twitter. It doesn't really matter what you say on Twitter, someone's going to get offended by it. But Joss Whedon, who hasn't spoken about Justice League or anything to do with DC since he was involved with Justice League, had said this, responding to another verified account, which is Priscilla Page. So, this is what he said to Priscilla Page. This is what she said first. Henry Cavill was a solid Superman. It pains me that we'll likely never get to see him in a more Donner-esque film. I don't know about that, Priscilla, but this is what Joss Whedon, quote, tweeted. Cavil is a great Superman, definitely the best since Reeves, and could take the top spot with the right material. Wow. Now, that's brilliant. For me, that's brilliant. But unfortunately, some Zack Snyder fans, some diehard DCEU fans have really gone at him. He's blocked quite a few people. Look, I've told you my opinion of Joss Whedon. I've told you my opinion of Justice League. What happened with Justice League wasn't Joss Whedon's fault. For whatever reason, Zack Snyder left the project, right? He left the project. Now, the official line was at the time that he asked Joss Whedon to come in. But whatever the situation, he comes in, right? Then he's got Kevin Sugihara. Yeah, we'll talk more about him in a minute. You've got Kevin Sugihara saying to him, I want this film under 2 hours. I want it to be more like an MCU film. I want it light, fluffy and generic. Joss has to do what he says, right? So he does. Now, you can kind of criticise Joss for, as I've said before, the Wonder Woman on top of the Flash moment. You can. That's just his humour, right? But anyway, right, he came in to do a hard gig. How he even completed that film, I don't know. As I've said before, the bad CG on Henry's upper lip was unforgivable. But at the end of the day, they were under trying circumstances because Kevin Sugihara was pressuring this guy so hard to just finish this damn movie and get it out there. So coming at Joss Whedon for whatever Justice League was or wasn't isn't very fair. We know whose fault it is. And the person whose fault it is has been removed from Warner Brothers. Check out my video yesterday. I spoke all about it. I spoke what I think about his removal. It's a great thing. Really, the news just gets better and better if you're a DC fan, if you're a DCEU fan. So going in at Joss Whedon, personally, I just don't think it's fair. Now, basically, this kicked off because people are all talking about Dean Cain. Dean Cain's a Republican. He's been making some very, very political statements. He blocked me ages ago, but that's fine because Dean Cain is the worst Superman, in my opinion, I have ever seen. And he was carried by Terry Hatcher for 4 seasons. As far as I'm concerned, I'm surprised Terry didn't have some marks on her shoulder pads at the time. That's how much she was carrying him. Poor actor, poor casting choice, not a great Superman as far as I'm concerned. I'm going to get some hate and unsubscribes for that. And also probably for defending Joss Whedon. Joss Whedon came in to do a hard gig. It's as simple as that. Stop attacking him. Stop blaming him. Kevin Sugihara's to blame. It's done. It's dusted. It's over. We can't do anything about it. All we can do about it now is fight for the Snyder Cut. Do you think Zack wants us to be going in at other creatives like this? This is the toxicity of fandom now. Not all fandom, but it makes good fans, good, nice fans who are just passionate about their superheroes look like arseholes. This is why creatives hate us. This is why you get some creatives talking about fan slapping. They're fed up of us because we're not constructive when we talk to them. Not all of us. I'm not that way. But there are people who just... Now, I love films, but you've got to understand and be passionate. I love these characters. I love these films. But you can't go in at people without being constructive. And that's just my personal opinion. So if you respect anything I have to say, and I'm sorry if this offends you, but please, just if you're going to comment, be constructive. I've seen him block someone as this guy going, thank fuck. It's just, You know what? It's just distasteful. Now, why would he even comment about Henry Cavill? See, he hasn't commented about anything. Very, very, very interesting. So I'm gonna give you a what if here. And again, this is going to trigger you because a lot of you don't like Joss Whedon because of what he did with Justice League. But as I've said, trying circumstances, no one else would have done any better. He actually came in and risked his career. He lost the Batgirl gig. But again, I think he lost the Batgirl gig because Walter Hamada came in and he said, you know what, we've got to get a woman to do this, a really good director, female director to do this. That's what's going on now. And, you know, that's a good thing, I think, as long as she's a great director and the director they've chosen, you know. But anyway, I'm going to ask you a question here. How would you feel about a Superman film starring Henry Cavill, written and directed by Joss Whedon? Now, Henry said at the time, in the build-up to Justice League, that they had some great conversations about Superman. And in fact, they both agreed about how Superman should be. Now, you know and I know that Henry's read a lot of Superman comics for research. He's very passionate about the character. He takes the character seriously. I think these two guys could do a great job. But please, before you come at me, think about this. He had no time to do anything in this movie. Blame Sujihara, not Joss Whedon. Joss Whedon is a pioneer. He's behind Buffy. You know, let me ask you another question. Without his work, right, on the first Avengers movie, where would the MCU be now? Exactly. He's pretty much responsible for that, right? Because since that movie, those other movies, and most of them quite ordinary movies, have done really well. It's the most successful IP ever. So please, I would absolutely give Joss Whedon another chance. And again, I know I've got about 500 and something subscribers right now. I'm probably going to end up with 200 subscribers. But you know what? I'm sorry. I have to say what I think. Otherwise, what's the point of me having a channel? What's the point of me doing these videos every day if I can't tell you how I feel? I want you to trust me on this. Joss Whedon's a good man. Joss Whedon is a genius, and he could give us something special. If he came in to write and direct a Justice League movie, his Justice League movie, it would have been epic. It would have been awesome. But he had to come in and finish somebody else's job and keep it like Zack Snyder's film, which I think he pretty much did it in ways. I know you're going to tear me to pieces. I get it. But I just feel blaming Joss Whedon isn't fair. So I would absolutely welcome Joss Whedon writing and directing a Superman film. I think it will be pretty awesome. A lot of you will say no. A lot of you will be disgusted by my opinion. But there you have it. So let's move on. I think we should move on pretty quickly before I get some tomatoes thrown on me. Imagine if this was a virtual screen and you could just chuck stuff at me. I think most of you would, wouldn't you? Anyway, right, if you're still watching, the rumour from the past couple of days ago is that the Batman will be set in the 90s. So this is very interesting because isn't it the 90s when the Batman animated series was out? So what, I'm just spitballing here, might not happen, but what if we see a younger Harley Quinn in this film? Just to kind of give us a little bit of a Batman animated series Easter egg. Hey, who knows? Anyway, it's meant to be set in the 90s, but this is just a rumour. This could be absolutely nonsense. So this is definitely about a younger Batman. Now, we all know Batfleck's comments in Batman v Superman. You know, we're all criminals, Alfred. You get one, they're like weeds, they grow up again. So he makes a lot of comments about the past and him fighting criminals. It basically looks like that this is why I think we're unclear about this film. And, you know, Ben Affleck has pretty much said he's done. But what's confusing here, what the question we have to ask about the Batman is it a younger Batman? Is it Batfleck, but younger, right? Is it? This is the thing. Have they done this so they didn't have to use him and use a younger actor? In the future, will they use this younger Batfleck? Or is this totally a different Batman? This is what we actually don't know. And this is the interesting, until because basically all Matt Reeves has said that this is a younger Batman, and this is him kind of using his detective skills. So we're pretty much assuming that this is in the past, but this is the rumour that is set in the 90s. So I'm very, very interested to see how that develops. So I'm excited to see a younger Batman, something new, something fresh. We haven't had a great detective Batman before. That's something different. It's meant to be a noir kind of story as well, which Matt Reeves has actually confirmed. So I'm very, very excited to see what happens here. So also, there's been some talk about new gods. It's Eva DuVernay, right? That's her name. She blocked me, actually, on Twitter ages ago because I made some comments about A Wrinkle in Time. Hey, this is the problem with Twitter. People will like you if you kiss their backsides, but if you're constructive, sometimes you even get blocked when you're constructive. What a shame, but I do try and be constructive. But it's a passionate thing, isn't it? Anyway, Eva DuVernay is still tapped to direct the New Gods movie. Apparently, we're going to see some big barter. We're going to see some other characters. We're going to see Apocalypse, and this could be the first version of what's his name? What's his name? Darkseid. God, I lost my mind there. Yeah, this could be the first version of Darkseid, because I don't think we're going to see the Snyder Cut before we see New Gods, unless we do. But I'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, I'm interested. Now, a lot of people have been speaking and talking about the fact that Ava will probably cast a lot of African Americans in this role in roles for in this film, right? I don't care. I just don't care. I just want to see a really good DC movie. She's a good director. A Wrinkle in Time. The Wrinkle in Time isn't a blockbuster movie. It isn't a bad movie, A Wrinkle in Time. My issue with A Wrinkle in Time, it was kind of a Disney Channel movie. It's something you'd expect to find on the Disney Channel. It wasn't a kind of cinematic movie, really. And that was my issue with it. And this is what I said to her. And she didn't like it. And she blocked me. Hey, that's her right. And I get blocked because I do put my opinions on Twitter. And some people don't like that. But anyway, so Kevin Sujihara has been dismissed. He's no longer the chairman and CEO of Warner Brothers. It's totally his fault what happened with Justice League. He bent under the pressure from critics and pundits and, people who were speaking negatively about BVS and MOS and even Suicide Squad at the time. He thought he could magic an MCU verse by just literally turning somebody else's film, which was a bit more darker, gritty and serious, into a light and fluffy film. It didn't work. It's totally his fault. But what does this exit now mean for the rest of the DCEU? Well, I think they've been pretty much going on the direction without him. I think he's pretty much stepped away from the DCEU. But was he the one blocking the Snyder Cut? And is there a better chance of the Snyder Cut kind of being there? I don't really know. I would think, yes, he was probably one of the people blocking the Snyder Cut. And it could be a situation that now he's gone, we've got a better chance of seeing the Snyder Cut. I think it's excellent that he's gone, and I think we do have a better chance. So keep on fighting, keep on acting Warner Brothers Pictures, and let's see how far we can get. I think, yes, definitely more of a chance of the Snyder Cut without Kevin Sujihara rather than with him. It'll be interesting to see who takes over that role, whether it's a creative or if it's another suit. Very interesting, but it's also going to be the first appointment in this role as kind of Warner Media rather than kind of the previous company. So that's also interesting to see what kind of situation they do and what kind of person they actually appoint there. And let's hope they're a comic book fan as well, because it's important. But basically someone who actually loves films and is more of a film lover than a politician. I think studios need presidents that understand films, because you are running a studio. Now, you're running a business, I understand, and you've got to have a relevant understanding of business. But if you understand film as well, you make the right decisions and your company gets more money and you get respect from the audience as well and the media. So it's like a domino effect, really. So great news there. Really looking forward to it. So thank you for tuning in and watching Tuesday's edition of the DCEU Daily. Please comment and let me know what you think about everything I've raised. If you are triggered and you do unsubscribe me, bye-bye. It's been good. For the rest of you, I'll see you tomorrow.